If you're in the market for a classic looking player's iron with an element of forgiveness built in, one of the models that's going to catch your attention is the AP2 by Titleist. It's actually a franchise that's 10 years old now. And what I've got in my hands here is the latest iteration of that. This is the 718 AP2. And actually what you're looking at here is Titleist's most played tour iron. That might come as a bit of a surprise. You might think the MB by Titleist or the CB was more played on tour. Not true, this is. And the reason it is because it is a classic looking iron with an element of forgiveness built in, as I said. I think if you're going to compete in this marketplace, you need to produce an iron that looks absolutely fantastic. And that's exactly what Titleist have done here. For me, this version of the AP2 is a big step forward. It looks better than previous generations. It looks fantastic behind the ball, but then you'd expect it to look fantastic behind the ball. The shape hasn't really changed very much. Where I think the big jump forward has come is the shelf appeal. It looks superb, both in the bag, on the shelf. It looks fantastic. Just take a moment to go and find it in your local pro shop when it hits the shelves. You'll see what I mean. But obviously it's about far more than just looks. And I'm going to flash up onto the screen in a second the launch monitor data that I was getting. I've tested it on the range here, but also out on the golf course. And what you're looking at here is my data for a 7-iron. So 120 miles an hour ball speed is pretty good. That's, I'd say, about right for me for a 7-iron, what I would expect. 19-degree launch angle is possibly a fraction higher than I would have expected, but it all comes down to that ability to be able to control mid-irons going into green, so I really liked the fact that it was launching a little higher. It was spinning really well at 6,720. You wouldn't want it spinning a lot less than that. That was great. Carrying 165, totaling 170. So really solid numbers for a 7-iron. And I think alongside those kind of basic numbers that you get, there's actually a story to tell in terms of forgiveness. Now, the forgiveness on offer in the AP2, it's not staggering. You're not going to hit shots right out of the toe and think, wow, I can't believe that's gone exactly the same distance as one hit out of the middle. You will notice off-centre hits. It's still a small, classic player's iron. But there is forgiveness built in. It's those slight misstrikes, those ones that have come a little bit out of the toe, a little bit out of the heel, you almost don't notice. The ball flight is the same, the distance is pretty much the same. You might drop off a yard or two, and that's down to the fact that they've put a little bit more tungsten into the heel and toe, and they've got a thinner face in this design. So without having to change the shape of this golf club, and it looks as classic as it ever has done, every generation of the AP2 seems to be getting a little bit more forgiving, but crucially, they're not giving up on that feel you would expect. And I was hitting all of the new clubs in the Titleist range yesterday. So I hit the MB, the CB, right up to the new AP3, TMB and AP1 irons. And I have to say that if in a blind test, if I was to do some blind testing between the AP2 and the MB, which is their blade, I said to the fitter yesterday while we were going through the process, I'm not 100% sure I'd be able to tell the difference. Yes, the MB does look a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimidating than the AP2, but the AP2 still has that fantastic feel that a good ball striker is going to want. Somebody that, if they want to shape their shots into the green, they're going to want that feel that you get from a great forged club, and that's what Titleist have produced here. And the other thing to mention about here is the consistency of the distances. For any good ball striker, what you want is a number that you can rely on. So you want a number, so for me it's a 7-iron, knowing that I can carry it 165, knowing that I'm going to hit it roughly 170-ish total. That's what you want, and it's that ability to hit that number time and again with slight off strikes thrown in as well. So those slight mishits from the heel and toe going out around about the same number. That's what you get with the engineering that's been built into this golf club. And the only way that you're going to see that is by going out and testing it yourself. So what you have here, the AP2 718 from Titleist, I think a really good upgrade from the brand. I think it looks fantastic and it still delivers that feel, that performance that a better ball striker is looking for. One thing I will mention is that the prices are going to go up slightly in 2017 for these clubs. So you're looking around about, they haven't been set yet, so you have to go to the Golf Monthly website to find the exact numbers, but you're looking at around about £1,000 for a set of these. Now the other thing to mention is, yes, the prices have gone up a little bit, but you can mix and match. So if you find that in the longer irons, you're not quite getting the distance that you want from a 3 or a 4 or a 5 iron, you can blend them in with the other sets. Each of the different sets in the Titleist range is designed to do a different thing. You have distance irons in there like the AP3, the TMB and the AP1 that you would be able to blend in with the AP2. And there's a consistency of look. Yes, the feel changes slightly when you go from the forged head to the cast body of the distance irons, but I think that's a price worth paying for a lot of golfers. A lot of good golfers will be willing to pay that price, because the ball flight that you get and the extra distance that you get can make a big difference in hitting those right gaps at the top end of your bag. As ever, there's an awful lot to think about. What exactly the set makeup looks like for you, that's down to your own personal individual choice. What looks good behind the ball, what you feel confident using. What I would say is that with the AP2, the 2018 version of this golf club, Titleist have squeezed in a little bit more forgiveness into a body that still looks classic, simple, traditional. It really is a fantastic iron.